2, 3, 4.
Today, we're going to interview Richie Vitale, jazz trumpeter and composer. Richie, why did you choose jazz as your profession?
Well, I didn't actually choose jazz as a profession. I'm actually an aspiring New York City cab driver, and I'm trying to make enough money to buy my medallion.
Richie, Miles Davis says, "I just picks up my horn and blows." Is it easy to play jazz? Is it?
Miles was just bullshitting. He studied theory at Juilliard, and Dizzy told him to practice piano. Coltrane practiced so much that if you called him on the telephone, as you were talking, you could hear him practicing. It takes an incredible amount of practice and diligence to become a great jazz musician. To be an okay one, you just have to own a horn.
And why have you chosen giant steps to dissect?
Certain tunes are yardsticks for the amount of knowledge and difficulty it takes to play them. Cherokee is one, and giant steps is another.
And can you explain to us how you practice giant steps in different keys?
I would if you'd shut up for a minute.
Don't talk to me like that. I'll chop off your head.
You will not.
Will too.
Will not.
Will too.
Will too.
Will not. Will too.
Well, the way I practice giant steps in different keys is, first I play it as it was intended. The chords sound like this. And that's a succession of major chords going up a minor third to the dominant, and then up a fourth to the major again. So in the original giant steps key on trumpet, the first chord is C sharp major, goes to E7, A major, C7, and F major. It sounds like this. After the F major, it goes quick 2/5 to A major, then to C7, then to F major, then to A flat 7, and then to D flat major. And that 2/5, the B to E, B minor to E7, is a tritone away from the last major chord. So we have tritone away from F is B. So for the B minor 7 to E7, I usually play something like this for practicing. Then what you do is you practice it down half a step, and and then a half a step from that, and another half a step. When you're done, you might try doing them up half steps. So it'll sound like this. Then down a half a step. I'm going to start on C. Now I don't call these licks, these are lines. They're part of the lexicon of playing jazz. It's as if you were a writer, screenwriter, or an author like Saul Bellow. You have letters, A, B, C, D, the alphabet, and you have words, and you have sentences and paragraphs, and you put them together to make people laugh or cry, to have pathos, happiness, as they read. Now it's the same thing with music. To me, there's notes and there's scales, and then there are ideas and patterns. And to be flexible on any instrument, you have to practice these patterns. For instance, if you were playing a minor chord, let's say, in succession in half steps. Now that sounds a little mechanical, so we change it a little, like this. But you have to know the basic minor, major, scales, dominant, all your scales, your whole tone, your diminished, all the scales. Another way of practicing giant steps is a little unusual, but I like this approach. What I do is I play the major chord, then I go down a step and I play a 2-5, and it takes me to the major again. So the changes, instead of going major, dominant, major like this, it'll sound like this. So here's the way I play it on the trumpet. I descend on the major, and on the 2-5 I ascend. Then do the same thing down a half a step, and down a half a step again, and a half a step again. The great thing about this practice is if you start on C sharp major, you're going to end on C sharp major. For simplicity's sake, I'll start on C. And the last chord was again my C major. So it makes it quite easy to check yourself to make sure that you've ended in the right place as well as started in the right place. You could view my tune Vitalogy and that exercise over here. No, over there.
Well, that just about finishes our interview, Mr. Vitale. Is there anything else you would like to tell our audience?
Well, yes, it's been a fun and unusual interview, and I'd like to thank you for letting me get my message across.
Well, thank you, Richie. I'm not going to chop off your head after all.
Again, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate that.